streaming this and then we'll record. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the IPFS weekly call where, try that again. Hello, and welcome to the IPFS weekly call where we get an opportunity to find all the interesting things that are being built by our community members. And let's do some housework first. And can you hear me? Hello? Yes, cool. Yeah. If you are part of the call, if you could just sign in, please. I just put in the doc. Just sign in and that'll be great. And today we're going to hear from Andre, and he is going to talk about Discussify. But before we talk about Discussify, Ollie, our note taker, yay, thank you, Ollie, has an announcement for us, a really exciting announcement.
It's time to segue now, right? Hello. So one thing that we have noticed is a recurring comment is that there's a lot of surface area of IPFS, and sometimes it's difficult to know where to start. So you're excited about IPFS and you want to contribute, huh? Well, we're going to try and make that easier. I mean, we're always improving the documentation, but as an extension to this call, we're going to have an office hours. So it'll be, there's no agenda. There's just an hour before this call every week. We're going to try and get two people from core team to be available. It'll be me for the first few weeks until everyone gets really excited about it, because it'll be the most fun call to be on. And we're just going to be available. And so if you have started working on a PR but you got stuck, or you are just excited about IPFS and want to contribute improvements to documentation, or just learn a bit more about how it works so that you can contribute, that is the call for you. And I've deliberately placed it right before this call so that it can segue nicely and be a stable weekly event that we all help out on. Beginners welcome. There is an issue. I will share it in the chat. It's on IPFS community repo. And the idea is that I will add an issue each week for this call, and to remind people that the contributor hours is available. The office hours event is available. Let me just paste a link into the chat. And if there are any existing contributors here present who want to idle on that call and help answer questions, then that would be great. If everyone is happy and is contributing successfully and there aren't questions, I will use the time to do a kind of AMA on IRC and go through the latest questions on discuss.ipfs.io. That's the plan. It's an experiment. Help me out.
I think it's an awesome experiment. Thank you so much for spearheading this, Ollie. And this is not just for programmers. Like, if you are into documentation, if you're into design, then you can also be part of the call, and we'll figure out and we'll show you how you can start contributing. So yay, I actually want to give that a clap. Yay. All right. Now it is time for our main presentation. Andre is going to walk us through Discussify. Discussify is a distributed app built on top of libp2p, where you can actually chat in the browser. I used it. It was pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. And I can't wait to learn more about it. So without further ado, Andre, please take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So before I start, I want to ask something, if possible, of course. So I put a link in the Discussify, sorry, in the Zoom chat, with the link for the extension to be installed on your Chrome browser. So if you have some time, please install it so that we can play around together, like in real time, while I present Discussify. It will be awesome, really awesome, if 1 or 2 or maybe 5 people could join, a real-time conversation for us to test Discussify. So the first thing that you have to do is install the Chrome extension, of course, but you also need to set up your UPort identity on your phone, and that might take a few minutes. So if you already have it, awesome. It won't take any time, basically. But if you haven't, please start it already. It might take like 1 to 2 minutes to set up an account on UPort or your identity on UPort. So anyway, as Portia said, Discussify is a real-time decentralized chat or discussion platform for the web, and it's built on top of IPFS and LP2P. So we actually started this back, I would say, half of 2018. And we actually launched the first version on December, or maybe earlier, I think November of the same year, basically. And these applications start basically inside the working group of the dynamic data and capabilities, because we wanted to not only use PeerPath as a testing bed, but also another app with different use cases to further complement the things that we were building in the dynamic data and capabilities working group. So besides having PeerPath, we also started Discussify to have different use cases, as I said. And in this case, we opted for something like a chat application, a real-time chat application, because it has different problems and require different solutions for some problems. So yeah, we started this and it took us like 3 to 4 months to actually develop it. And I'm going to actually show you, and I'm just talking a little bit, introducing the project to give you some time to actually install the application. But I will demo it right now using maybe IPFS.io website. I will actually ask Pedro, which is here actually, to join the conversation in Discussify. But essentially, I will start. Let me just minimize this stuff here. So I'm going to actually log out so that you can see the whole flow process. So once you enable the extension, a little balloon here appears, and when you click it, it asks you to log in with UPort. At the moment, I'm using UPort to provide authentication and identity, but this is something that will change in the future. Actually, Moxie is working on a decentralized identity solution called Nomius, and which is basically based on IDM, which stands for Identity Manager, and essentially it's a product and a specification for you to create decentralized identities based on the IDs and verifiable credentials and some other official specifications that are being built by the community. And UPort is actually one of the DID methods that IDM will actually use inside. So for now, I'm just going to use UPort to log in, and give me a second for me to open UPort and scan this QR code. All right. So it should log me in a few seconds. Not working. Okay, it works now. So I'm logged in right now, and I can already see 2 peers. Hopefully, I think it's Pedro. So what you're seeing here is basically a sidebar which has the comment section on the middle, and you have the ability to add new comments. So as I said, we use libp2p and IPFS to provide the networking layer and the persistency layer as well, because the peers themselves basically discover each other using libp2p and pubsub, but the messages that that I send are persisted on IPFS. So all of this it's made possible thanks to Peerbase. So Peerbase is a peer-to-peer library that everyone can use. I think Pedro Teixeira already presented it a few times, and also gave some workshops, and I already gave some workshops as well. But essentially, I'm using libp2p, which uses IPFS and libp2p underneath to provide a peer-to-peer friendly real-time, basically to build applications on real-time peer-to-peer networking, not networks. And as I said, also this library, the Peerbase, which was also created in the working group, the same working group, the dynamic data, is very powerful, and basically it allows you to use CRDTs to provide conflict-free replicated data structures, which I'm using here. So if I type hello here, what will happen is that this data structure will be replicated to the other peer, which I think is Pedro. And if Pedro, if possible, could you reply something? So if Pedro, if this works out, Pedro will reply to this comment or post something. And what happens is that, and you can see it, both comments were replicated among the two peers in a known conflict way, basically similar to the Git primitives or principles, because there are no conflicts unless there is, and you have to solve it. But in terms of the peer base, there's no conflicts at all. That's why they are conflict free. And thanks to the peer base and IPFS and libp2p, we are seeing all those technologies playing well together, because the comments are being persisted on IPFS. IPFS stores the actual comments, and then we have the libp2p and the peer base layer, which makes the synchronization possible. And the whole chat that we are seeing is as I said, a CRDT, which just stores the little seeds of the comments. Basically, the hello comment, the sure I'm replying comment, and how shiny comment from Jessica is seeds. Each one has a content ID, and they are being fetched in parallel when a new comment arrives. So in terms of the features, I can add new comments. I can reply to comments. For instance, I can reply to a comment made by Pedro. I can edit my comments, something like this. And also I can delete a comment. So I will post new comments and I will delete it. And this seems to work. And I think that's pretty much it. Basically, each discussion is unique per link, or per link, basically. So if I go to another site, for instance, if I go to github.com, you'll see that the comments or the discussion is empty, basically. So a few references, if you are curious about how Discussify is actually implemented and so on, you can check the PM Discussify repo on GitHub. It contains basically a lot of information. Basically, it contains the concept documentation about the project, contains the features and so on, and also the extension themselves. And the code base lives in two different repositories. So you have the browser extension, which is the code responsible for the actual extension, and then you have the style guide, which is a set of React components that power Discussify, the Discussify browser extension. We did it that way because we wanted to make also a web-based Discussify application, and also we wanted to make in the future an iframe similar to the Facebook iframe, where you can copy the Facebook snippet to have comments in your website. We wanted to have that as well, so we created a style guide in order to share a lot of components that we use. So yeah, I think that's basically it. If you have any questions, it will be awesome if you could ask them. And I'm sorry for the lack of you know, preparation about this, but yeah.
That was a very nice demo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, if you have any questions or comments, if you could put it in the chat, that would be wonderful. Any questions or comments?
Let's see this.
I have a question.
Sure.
Right now, oh, we'll get to Jim's question first.
The questions are being written somewhere?
Yes, they are in the chat.
All right.
So will you be switching to Namios? And this question is from Jim.
Okay, will you be switching to Namios? That's a question?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we have plans to switch to Namios once we have a proof of concept working. Essentially, Namios, what will give us out of the box, or the most important things are two things. The first one is that it will allow us to sign comments, because at the moment UPort doesn't allow you to sign data directly. You need some sort of backend to do that for you, or you need to use their credentials, which is not really for that purpose. But Nomius will allow you to sign the comments, so that I can be sure that a comment is made, or the authorship or the ownership of a comment is really from the person that made it. That's one of the things. That the other main point that Nomius will give us is that it will allow us to use other decentralized identity solutions, or more specifically other DID methods, because there are a lot of DID methods. UPort is just one. There is a lot more. There is, for instance, I actually will open, if you still see my screen, I will open the DID registry. So UPort, as you can see, is listed here in the table. It's here. It's just one of the DID methods. There are a lot of DID methods. For instance, the Verus one is also very known in the ecosystem. You also have some others from Bitcoin, from the Bitcoin blockchain that are also well known. You have the Sovereign, which also well known, and Nomius will allow us to integrate seamlessly with any DID method. You don't need to add specific code for the various types of DID methods. You just do it one way, and the Nomius will figure out and have an adapter layer that will take care of that for you, basically.
And as a follow-up question, could you tell us more, touched upon this, what is Namios?
All right. So I will, let me put in the repo. So if you want to know more about Nomius, we have here a repo, also on Shipyard. So this is something that we are working for 2 months and a half, I think. So Nomius really started as IDM, and IDM still exists, is still a thing, I will explain. But it all started with an RFC around identity. Again, this was work being done in the Dynamic Data and Capabilities Working Group. Some people here are familiar with it. I'm seeing some people, some known faces here. Anyway, basically, it all started as an RFC with a proposal to make the decentralized identity more easy to do in a peer-to-peer manner, more specifically to integrate with PeerPad and Discussify. because we really need identity in case of Discussify and also in PeerPad, but we were having difficulties with the current solutions because they are not really peer-to-peer friendly, and even if they are not very user friendly because they require you to install things such as extensions, for instance, MetaMask and whatnot, and those are things that the average internet user don't expect to do in order to interact with a regular or a standard application. So we started working on the IDM concept, and IDM stands for Identity Manager. And what it really is, and I will quote here, is a unified or an attempt to create a unified digital wallet based on open standards that aims to support multiple decentralized identities. And Nomius is let's say, a concretization of that, because IDM is a spec, and anyone can implement their own identity wallet based on this spec. Nomius is just one of those wallets, because Nomius has a design and has a front end with a specific specific face in terms of looking, how it looks and how it feels. But I or any other can implement their own identity based on the same specs. So if you are interested in knowing more, we have here the PM IDM repo, where we also have the concept, we have the specification, we have some diagram for you to explore, which entails all the user flows of the wallet, and you have here the work plan as well. So we are currently working on this, and if you are also interested in knowing or previewing how the application is looking like, or the wallet is looking like, we host a bi-weekly meeting every Monday, but I think the next one will be on Thursday because of the holidays and vacations around this specific time in Portugal right now. But I think that essentially, does it answer your question, Jim? Or Diet Twitch?
All right, I see thumbs up, and I also see a story about Uport.
Uport deleted my old identity and now has an identification step that only works for, okay.
I got it. I just created a new identity, but I had to use a US address.
Okay, but you mean the Uport application deleted your old identity stored there?
Yes, they
okay.
got a new version.
Maybe because you upgraded the application, maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. All right. Yeah, that shouldn't happen, obviously. But the thing is that Uport, as a DID method, has a recovery mechanism that allows you to recover your identity. That's why it's asking you for the zip code, which you don't have, right?
Did you mention that IDM has a recovery method?
Sorry?
Did you mention that IDM has a recovery method?
So IDM is just an aggregator of all the DID methods. Uport is just one. So if Uport supports a recovery method, and you're using an identity, or you imported an identity to IDM from Uport, you'll also be able to recover your identity through IDM. But for instance, IDM also supports other DID methods. One of them is IPID. And IPID, because it uses IPNS and IPFS, obviously, and because it relies on the fact that your IPNS key is your identity, basically, you can't really recover it, at least directly, because once you lose it, you lose your identity because it's compromised. Anyone can point to another document saying who you are or something like that. So you can't really recover it. So it's dependent on the DID method that you choose when importing or when creating your identity through IDM.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any other questions? Another thank you. And my original question was related to Jim's, which was why are you switching away from Newport? And you've already answered that question, which is great. So any more questions before we actually break? Going once, going twice. Okay. So
I'm just showing some screens so that you can better understand what non-use is. Sorry to interrupt you.
oh, can you say it again? You're showing us screens too. Say it again, please.
I'm not showing my screen.
Oh, what did you say? Can you please repeat?
I said that I'm just sharing as a current mock-up of non-use for the people that asked about non-use. So this is how it looks like in terms of the actual wallet. So if you see on the left, you have your identities that you imported or created through this wallet, and you can add and you can see your profile and so on.
That's quite nice. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. Andre, thank you very much for taking the time out to show us to specify and to also show us about IDM and this lovely wallet, which is like the best wallet I've ever seen. Thanks everyone for being here. I will see you next Monday and have a great week. Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.